In this video, we're going to go over some tips, particularly for virtual assistants, people needing to put the quotes together, which is largely going to be virtual assistants. In particular, we're going to go over a little example of several examples, really, of how to identify where gutters are going to be and where Christmas lights are going to be installed. So they're going to be a couple different annotated photographs. So let's jump to those real quick. Okay, so as you can see here, the blue is representing where a gutter goes. A gutter is collecting water off of the roof of a house. So wherever the water is going to naturally flow off of the roof of a house, following gravity, starting at the highest point and going to the lowest point, wherever water is being guided to, there's always going to be a gutter. So as you notice, I put arrows, the blue arrow on the roof, representing if water was hitting the roof in that location, the arrow is pointing where the water is going to flow down the roof. And then as it flows down the roof, it reaches the end of the roof. And then that's where the gutter is going to be located. So as you can see here, the water sheds off of the crest of the roof downwards into the gutter below. And then the red is indicating where we're going to install Christmas lights. So the red is going to show pretty much on the front of the house and then about 5 feet around each corner, because the front of the house and 5 feet around each corner, the left and the right corner, where the gate, the sides of the houses are, that's where the Christmas lights are going to be installed. So they're going to be installed the front of the house and a couple feet around the corner, about 5 feet. So as you can see, this is pretty dense information about where gutters are located, represented in blue. The water's being shed down the roof into the gutter, where it's landing in all the spaces where the gutter's represented in blue, in like the teal color. And then the red is where Christmas lights are installed. So this is a really standard house, really simple house to start off. And then let's look at some other examples. So here we have a little bit more complex of a roof. Really, it's a 2-story house where you see the blue arrows shedding downwards from the crests of the roof. You can see these little portions of the roof kind of being the crest, and then the water shedding downward. Oftentimes, what is that? Not parallel. I think it's perpendicular to it. So the water's being shed off of the roof. This is the 2nd-story section. This is the 1st-story section. You can just tell based on the shadow. And then this is the front of the house. So you can see the water being shed off of the roof into the blue areas, and then the front of the house, because this is kind of where the driveway is and parking is going to be located. So this is the front of the house. The red lights, or the red highlighter, represents where the Christmas lights are going to go, because this is the walkway. We're going to put Christmas lights the entire way. So Christmas lights are on the front of the house, represented in red, and then 5 feet around each corner, the left and the right corners, both on the 2nd and the 1st story. So let's look at another example. These are going to be pretty similar every time, where blue's getting shed off the roof into the more teal colored gutter, and then red is representing the Christmas lights in this picture too. Notice that this home has 2 peaks. This is a small single-story house, really simple, but it has 2 peaks, where the red is representing pretty much trying to mimic the peak of the roof, because the peak of the roof is obviously going to be longer linearly than just a flat roof, like the flat portion of a roof representing where a gutter would be located. But because there's no gutter here, it's a peak, it takes up a little bit more of linear footage. So this is actually going to be how you're really going to measure the most accurate linear feet measurement of where the Christmas lights are going to be installed, because this is pretty much mimicking the shape of the peak of the roof right here. So this red is kind of shadowing where the peak of the roof is. So as you can see, water's being shed off of the roof into the gutter, and then the Christmas lights are being traced. Let's look at a couple more examples. That is just zooming in. Okay, here's one with a solar panel, where here's the back of the house. The water's being shed pretty simply into the gutter below, beneath the solar panels. And then on the front of the house, the water's being shed the opposite direction, obviously, because of the crest of the roof right here. Water's being shed one direction or the other. And then as it sheds, it reaches the end of the roof, representing where the gutter is going to be. And then this is the front of the house where the Christmas lights are being installed. A couple feet around the corner, up the peak, down the peak, up the front of the house. And then there's 2 peaks right here. So there's kind of layered peaks. You have to make sure to measure both. But you can see where the gutters are and the Christmas lights are located. And then this is a really large, beautiful house, kind of complex geometry for a roof. This is what's called the turret. There's going to be gutters. Here in the middle is what the turret is. It's like a really tall structure, like cylindrical. And then the water's being shed off of the front and the back of the roof into the gutters below. And then here we go again, where there's a peak. And then the Christmas lights are going to be on that turret, and then up the peak on the other side with where this is the garage, and then a couple feet around the corner. And I think we got one more picture. And then here's more gutters into the back of the house, representing where the blue arrows are pointing, where the gutters are located. And then the peak of the roof, where the Christmas lights are going to go along this blue line, or the red line. Sorry, the blue representing the gutters. And then this is the last picture, represented where the blue arrows are pointing to where the gutters are located, and then the Christmas lights are on the front of the house, up both peaks. So these are lots of good examples. This is what, if you're a virtual assistant, how you're going to measure where gutters are and where Christmas lights are. These are some good examples to kind of follow to see, okay, gutters are located where the water is shut off the roof, the edge of the roof, that's where the gutter is, because there has to be some mechanism to collect water and usher it away from the house. So that's the point of the gutter. And then the Christmas lights are going to be the front of the house, couple feet, about 5 feet around each corner, and then up the peaks. Don't forget the importance of the peaks for measurement. So that's an example of where gutters are located and where Christmas lights are going to be installed.